50 things only. Those who grew up in the 1980s remember. Remember neon clothes, cassette tapes, and the thrill of spinning on a sit and spin? If you grew up in the unforgettable 80s, get ready to rewind time. From arcade battles to crimped hair and Cabbage Patch crazes, we're diving into the fun, funky world only 80s kids truly understand. Let's see how many of these you remember. Atari 2600. Before the Nintendo era kicked off, the Atari 2600 was the console that got everyone hooked on home gaming. Titles like Pong, Frogger, and Space Invaders weren't just fun, they were legendary. Sure, the graphics were basic, but back then it felt like stepping into the future. For kids growing up in the 80s, the Atari was pure excitement. It brought the arcade into your living room and created memories that stuck. For a lot of us, it was our very first taste of gaming, and the start of a lifelong passion for pixels and play. Jelly shoes. Jelly shoes were the must-have kicks for kids growing up in the 80s, and you couldn't miss them if you tried. Made from see-through plastic and popping in every color you can imagine, they had this shiny, almost glittery vibe that made them stand out. Comfort? Not so much. Your feet would get sweaty and support was basically zero. But nobody cared. It was all about the look. Jelly shoes were playful, bold, and totally in style. They added a pop of fun to any outfit and became one of the most unforgettable fashion trends of the decade. Scratch-and-sniff stickers. Back in the 80s, scratch-and-sniff stickers were the ultimate treasure for kids. Just a little rub and bam! Your notebook smelled like bubblegum, pizza, or even buttered popcorn. It turned school supplies into something way more fun. But collecting them wasn't just about the smells. Trading was where the real magic happened. Swapping rare scents with your friends made your collection stand out. The wilder the smell, the cooler your stash was. Everyone wanted the weirdest, most awesome stickers to brag about and pass around. Cassette tapes and mixtapes. Long before streaming took over, cassette tapes were how we lived and breathed music. They did more than just play our favorite songs, they let us show who we were. Remember waiting by the radio, finger on the record button, ready to catch that perfect track? Or spending hours crafting the ultimate mixtape for someone special? Those tapes weren't just plastic, they held memories. They were our personal playlists before playlists existed, filled with emotion, meaning, and moments we wanted to share. Fanny Packs. In the 80s, nothing said cool and convenient quite like a fanny pack. These zippered pouches strapped around your waist were perfect for holding all the little things. Keys, gum, even a snack or two, without needing a bag. But they weren't just about being handy. Oh no, fanny packs were full-on fashion. Bright neon colors, bold prints, you couldn't miss them. They screamed fun and freedom. Whether you were heading to the mall or jamming out at a concert, your trusty fanny pack kept your stuff close and your look on point. Walkman. The Sony Walkman was a total game changer for music fans back in the day. It was small, portable, and super slick. Just pop in a cassette, slide on those foam headphones, and boom, you had music on the go. It turned everyday moments into your own private concert. But it wasn't just about the tunes, it meant freedom. You could take your music anywhere, anytime. And let's not kid ourselves, it was a big deal to have one. If you had a Walkman, you were officially in the cool crowd. Pogo Balls. Pogo Balls were a true balance challenge that every 80s kid wanted to master. The toy looked simple, a hard plastic disc wrapped around a rubber ball, but using it was a whole different story. You'd hop on, try to stay upright, and bounce without wiping out. It took practice, but once you figured it out, you felt unstoppable. Recess turned into a mini Olympics with kids showing off their bouncing skills. Whether you were in the driveway or at school, the Pogo Ball brought tons of laughs, a little frustration, and a whole lot of confidence with every jump. Sit and spin. The sit and spin was a classic 80s toy that proved you didn't need anything fancy to have a blast. Just plop down on the colorful base, grip the center wheel, and start spinning yourself in circles. The faster you went, the more hilarious and dizzy you'd get. It was a guaranteed way to spark giggles and burn off some serious energy, especially when playing indoors. Rainy day, no problem. This little spinner turned any room into a mini amusement ride. Simple, silly, and endlessly fun, the sit and spin was a go-to for pure carefree play that kids never got tired of. Who mastered the sit and spin and never got dizzy? Drop your dizzy-free secrets in the comments. Hair crimpers. In the 80s, flat hair was out and volume was everything. That's where the hair crimper came in. It turned straight locks into wild zigzag waves that instantly amped up your look. This little tool became a must-have for anyone chasing that bold, eye-catching style. But crimping was just the start. Teased bangs, sky-high volume, and enough hairspray to freeze it in place were all part of the look. It was big, loud, and unapologetically fun. Crimped hair wasn't just a trend, it was a full-on fashion statement that captured the fearless spirit of the decade. Slap bracelets. Slap bracelets were one of the coolest little crazes to hit the 80s. These things were made with a bendy metal strip wrapped in bright, fun fabric. You'd stretch one out, slap it on your wrist, and snap. It wrapped around like magic. That sound, that feel. It was oddly satisfying. They came in all sorts of wild colors and funky prints, so everyone had their favorite. But of course, they got so popular that schools started banning them. Didn't matter though. Kids loved them. Slap bracelets were pure 80s fun, full of attitude and just the right amount of rule breaking. Arcade games. Before everyone had game systems at home, the arcade was where all the action happened. Imagine walking in. Neon lights everywhere, coins dropping, machines beeping, and friends crowded around cheering each other on. It wasn't just gaming, it was a full-on vibe. The arcade was the place to meet up, compete, and see who could grab the top score. Each new game felt like a whole new world to explore. It was more than just fun. It was excitement, energy, and connection, all packed into one loud, glowing room. Blockbuster video rentals? A trip to Blockbuster wasn't just about grabbing a movie. It was a full-on family outing. Everyone would hop in the car, head to the store, and wander the aisles for what seemed like forever, trying to agree on the perfect flick. That hunt was half the fun. And of course, you had to grab a bag of popcorn to make movie night complete. Then there were those little Be Kind Rewind stickers. Classic reminders to rewind your tape before bringing it back. All of it added to the magic. That was movie night in the 80s. Simple, exciting, and full of charm. Trapper Keepers. The Trapper Keeper wasn't just school supplies. It was your personal style on full display. With its loud, colorful covers and that iconic Velcro flap, it quickly became the one thing every student had to have. But it wasn't only about keeping your notes together, it was about standing out. Choosing the perfect one felt like a back-to-school tradition. Whether it had neon splashes, funky designs, or your favorite cartoon on the front, the right Trapper Keeper turned heads in the hallway. If you had a cool one, you weren't just organized, you were instantly cool. What's the one 80s trend you couldn't live without? Drop it in the comments and let's reminisce together. Neon clothes. The 80s didn't do subtle, everything was loud, and neon clothes took center stage. Think electric pinks, blinding greens, blazing oranges, and highlighter yellows, lighting up every outfit. Whether it was workout wear, street style, or just a neon scrunchie, these colors were everywhere. Neon wasn't just fashion, it was attitude. It screamed confidence and fun, and it captured the wild energy of the decade. If your closet didn't have at least one piece of neon, you were definitely missing out on the full 80s experience. Boomboxes. The boombox was way more than just a music player. It was a symbol of the times. These big, bold radios let you take your favorite tracks anywhere, cranking up the volume on sidewalks, at the park, or just hanging out with friends. Yeah, they were bulky and a bit of a workout to lug around, but no one cared. The sound was booming, the energy was electric, and the style was unbeatable. With a boombox on your shoulder, you weren't just listening. You were making a statement and bringing the party with you wherever you went. The MTV Boom. When MTV launched in 1981, it didn't just start a music channel, it changed the game completely. Suddenly, music came with a visual punch. It wasn't just about how a song sounded, but how it looked on screen. Artists had to bring style, attitude, and visuals to match their sound. With that famous "I want my MTV" slogan and the bold, blocky logo, the network quickly became a cultural force. It set trends, shaped fashion, and made music videos must-see TV. For any fan of 80s music, MTV wasn't just a channel, it was your front row seat to the music revolution. Leg warmers. Leg warmers were one of the biggest fashion hits of the 80s, and we can thank the aerobics boom for that. What started as fitness gear quickly became everyday wear. If you ever tuned into Jane Fonda's workout tapes, you knew leg warmers were part of the uniform. They came in all kinds of bold colors and had that soft, stretchy feel that made them both comfy and eye-catching. Whether you were working out or just walking around town, they gave your outfit that sporty, upbeat flair. They captured the fun, high-energy vibe that defined the decade. Cabbage Patch Kids. The Cabbage Patch Kids craze completely swept through the 80s, and it was impossible to miss. These dolls weren't your average toys. They each had their own name, personality, and even an adoption certificate, which made them feel one of a kind. They weren't just dolls, they were yours. And when the holidays rolled around, they became the hottest item on every kid's wish list. Parents didn't just shop for them, they battled for them. Stores turned into madhouses with people scrambling to grab one. Scoring a Cabbage Patch Kid was like winning a prize. Lisa Frank School Supplies. Lisa Frank School Supplies brought an explosion of color and imagination to every classroom. Covered in rainbows, unicorns, dolphins, and all kinds of playful creatures, her bright, sparkly designs turned boring school days into something way more fun. Whether it was a folder, a notebook, or a pencil pouch, anything with Lisa Frank's signature look made you stand out. If you had her stuff, you weren't just doing homework, you were showing off your style. It felt like carrying a little slice of magic in your backpack, turning everyday school gear into something truly special. Garbage Pail Kids. Garbage Pail Kids trading cards were the perfect blend of gross and funny, and kids in the 80s couldn't get enough. They were like the wild, twisted cousins of the sweet Cabbage Patch Kids, only way weirder. With outrageous names like Atom Bomb and Leaky Lindsay, each card was packed with over-the-top artwork and a pun that made you laugh. Or gag. The fun wasn't just in collecting a full set. It was about finding the weirdest, funniest cards to show off to your friends. They were weird, wild, and totally irresistible in the best kind of way. Who else begged their parents for a Cabbage Patch Kid and got into a store showdown? Tell me about it below. The Oregon Trail. Back in the 80s, the Oregon Trail made computer class the highlight of the day. This classic game brought pioneer life to life, mixing real history with exciting choices. You'd hunt buffalo, cross rivers, and try to stretch your supplies, all while avoiding disasters like dysentery or busted wagons. Every move mattered, and reaching Oregon felt like a major win. It wasn't just about fun. It taught kids how to think ahead, work together, and handle tough breaks. For a lot of us, it was our first taste of strategy, survival, and the wild ride of early American life. Polaroid Cameras. Back in the 80s, Polaroid cameras felt like a little slice of magic. You didn't have to wait days for your pictures, just snap, and the photo popped out right then and there. Whether it was a family get-together or a silly moment with friends, every click captured something worth keeping. And the real fun, watching the image slowly appear as you gave it a little shake, it was part of the whole experience. Polaroids weren't just pictures, they were instant memories you could hold in your hand, making every shot feel personal and unforgettable. Waterbeds. Back in the 80s, having a waterbed was the height of cool and comfort. These ripple-filled mattresses felt straight out of the future, like sleeping on a wave. They weren't the easiest to deal with, though. Moving them was a hassle, and leaks were always a worry. But none of that mattered. If you had a waterbed, you were living in style. It wasn't just where you slept, it was a bold piece of furniture that screamed luxury. In a decade all about excess and flair, a waterbed was the ultimate bedroom upgrade. Friendship pins. In the 80s, friendship pins were small but packed with meaning. These little colorful safety pins, often decorated with beads or charms, were proudly displayed on shoelaces, backpacks, and jackets. They weren't just cute add-ons, they were tokens of loyalty and connection. Giving or trading one meant something special, like a tiny promise between friends. Every pin told a story, marking a memory or a bond. Whether they were bright and bold or sweet and simple, friendship pins let you show how much someone meant to you, one pin at a time. Viewmaster. The Viewmaster felt like holding a tiny portal to a whole new world. You'd pop in one of those reels, peek through the lenses, and click the lever to flip through 3D images that came to life before your eyes. From far-off places to cartoons and learning adventures, every click took you somewhere new. It wasn't high-tech, but it sure felt magical. There was something special about how it stirred your imagination and made you feel part of the scene. For so many kids, it was a simple toy that offered a big escape, without ever leaving home. Caboodles. Every girl in the 80s knew that owning a caboodle was essential. These colorful, pastel plastic cases weren't just organizers, they were a statement. With all their little compartments and pop-up trays, they made it easy to stash makeup, scrunchies, and all your favorite accessories. But caboodles were more than just handy, they were part of your vibe. Sitting pretty on your dresser, they added a splash of color and personality to your space. It wasn't just about keeping things tidy, it was about keeping them stylish too. Caboodles were the go-to for staying organized while showing off your flair. Glo Worms. For kids growing up in the 80s, Glo Worms were the perfect bedtime pal. These soft, huggable toys had one magical trick. Their faces lit up with a warm, gentle glow when you squeezed them. That soft light made the dark feel a lot less scary and bedtime a whole lot cozier. Whether you needed a little comfort or just something to light the way at night, your Glo Worm was always there. It wasn't just a toy, it was a sweet little friend that helped kids feel safe, loved, and ready to drift off to sleep. E.T. Craze. When E.T. the Extraterrestrial hit the big screen, it took over everything. That sweet little alien wasn't just a character. He became a full-blown obsession. Suddenly, E.T. was everywhere. Stuffed toys, lunchboxes, and of course piles of Reese's Pieces, thanks to his candy of choice. Kids everywhere were quoting E.T. Phone Home and pretending to fly their bikes across the moon. It wasn't just a movie, it kicked off a wave of E.T. mania that spread into homes, schools, and playgrounds. The magic of that film went far beyond the theater. E.T. became part of our everyday world. Mall culture. In the 80s, the mall wasn't just where you went to shop, it was where life happened. With neon signs glowing and the hum of arcade machines in the background, the place was packed with energy. Teens would meet up, grab snacks from the food court, and wander through stores scoping out the latest fashion. It was the go-to hangout, the heartbeat of social life. Whether you were spending money or just killing time, the mall was where friendships formed, trends were spotted, and memories were made. Paper fortune tellers. Paper fortune tellers, better known back then as cootie catchers, were a staple of every 80s recess. Just a simple folded piece of paper, but packed with mystery and laughs. Kids would jazz them up with bright colors and scribble in goofy or surprising fortunes. With a few moves of your fingers, you'd land on a prediction. Maybe who you'd marry or what your hidden talent was. It wasn't high-tech, but it felt like magic. These little paper games brought big fun, turning classroom doodles into fortune-telling adventures every kid wanted to try. Choose your own adventure books. In the 80s, choose your own adventure books made reading feel like a game. These stories put you in control. You got to decide what happened next. One page might send you into a dark cave, while another led you safely home. Every choice opened up a new path, full of surprises and sudden twists. You never knew what ending you'd get, which made it super hard to stop turning pages. For kids back then, these books weren't just fun. They made reading exciting, unpredictable, and totally personal, turning every story into a one-of-a-kind journey. What's the wildest hacky sack trick you ever pulled off? Share your skills or your epic wipeouts. Let's hear it. Koosh Balls. Koosh Balls were one of those simple toys from the 80s that somehow became a total hit. Made with soft, rubbery strands shooting out from a squishy center, they were perfect for tossing around, catching, or just keeping your hands busy. The feel was oddly satisfying, and the bright colors made them impossible to miss. Whether you were killing time during class or just goofing around with friends, having a Koosh Ball nearby was always a win. Their fun, flexible design made them a go-to toy, easy to love and hard to put down. Hacky Sack. Hacky sacks ruled the playground in the 80s, turning every recess into a challenge of skill and teamwork. These little bean-filled balls looked simple, but keeping one in the air with just your feet? That took serious coordination. Whether you were practicing solo or kicking it around in a circle with friends, it was all about control, style, and keeping the game going. People would show off tricks, cheer each other on, and bond over each kick. It wasn't just a game, it was a movement. Hacky sacks became a fun, creative way for a generation to connect and compete. Troll dolls. Troll dolls took over the 80s with their crazy, colorful hair and wide-eyed grins. These little weirdos quickly became collector favorites, popping up in toy boxes, on desks, and even hanging from backpacks. Some kids swore they brought good luck, while others just loved how different they looked. With their spiky hair sticking straight up and those mischievous little faces, they were impossible to ignore. Whether you had one or a dozen, troll dolls added a splash of fun and oddball charm to everyday life. From keychains to plush versions, they were everywhere and totally unforgettable. Chia Pets. Chia Pets became a full-blown craze in the 80s thanks to that unforgettable jingle, Chia. These oddball clay figures grew green hair from chia seeds, and watching them sprout was half the fun. Whether you picked the classic sheep, a turtle, or even an ET version, each one turned into a little plant-filled character. The best part? It was super easy. Just add water and wait for the magic to happen. Both kids and adults got a kick out of seeing their Chia Pet come to life. It wasn't just a toy, it was a fun, leafy way to add a bit of charm to any room. Sweet Valley High books. The Sweet Valley High book series was the go-to source for teen drama in the 80s and early 90s. It followed identical twins Jessica and Elizabeth Wakefield through their high school adventures, filled with crushes, friendships, and plenty of trouble. Jessica was the bold, fun-loving twin, while Elizabeth played it smart and sensible, which often led to tension and surprises. The stories had everything: love triangles, secrets, rivalries, and the kind of emotional roller coasters that kept readers hooked. For many teens, these books were pure escape, diving into a world where every day brought a new dose of drama and dream-worthy high school life. Bonne lip smackers. Bonne Bell lip smackers were more than just lip balm in the 80s. They were a total craze. These tasty little tubes came in all kinds of fun flavors, from classic strawberry to the fan favorite Dr. Pepper, and kids couldn't get enough. They weren't just for chapped lips either, they were status symbols. Friends swapped them like collectibles, comparing flavors and showing off their growing collections. The bright, playful packaging made them even more irresistible. Whether you wore it for the shine, the scent, or just to be part of the trend, lip smackers were a sweet, stylish way to connect and stand out. Reebok Pumps. Reebok Pumps were the holy grail of sneakers in the 80s. They weren't just about style, they had serious tech that made you feel ahead of the game. Press the button on the tongue and the shoes would inflate around your foot, giving you that custom, locked-in feel. It was like something out of the future, and it made every step feel smoother, cooler, and more powerful. Sure, they cost a bit more, but owning a pair meant you were at the top of the sneaker game. Whether you were hitting the court or just turning heads at school, Reebok Pumps were the ultimate flex. Scratch-off lottery tickets. Scratch-off lottery tickets were a big part of 80s culture, giving people a quick hit of excitement for just a few bucks. You didn't have to be a gambler to get hooked. These little tickets were everywhere, from gas stations to corner stores. The thrill came from scratching off that silver film to see if luck was on your side. It was simple, cheap, and full of anticipation. Even if you didn't win, the few seconds of what if made it totally worth it. For many, it was a fun, low-stakes way to chase a bit of instant fortune in a small, shiny package. Candy cigarettes. Candy cigarettes were one of those oddball treats from the 80s that kids absolutely loved, even if they raised a few eyebrows. These chalky, sugary sticks looked just like real cigarettes, right down to the packaging that mimicked popular brands. For kids, it was all about pretending to be grown-up, copying what they saw in movies or out on the street. You'd hold one just right, puff out pretend smoke, and feel a little rebellious. They didn't have any tobacco, of course, but the act of smoking them felt like a game. Looking back, they were a wild mix of fun and controversy that totally captured the era's carefree spirit. Sliding across floors in socks. Thanks to risky business and Tom Cruise's unforgettable slide in socks, every kid in the 80s had to give it a shot. It was the ultimate movie moment to copy. You'd kick off your shoes, take a deep breath, and launch yourself across the floor like a rock star. Hardwood or carpet didn't matter. You just wanted to nail that smooth, cool glide. It was all about channeling that carefree, confident vibe, even if you ended up on your backside a few times. For a generation, it wasn't just a movie scene. It was a must-try moment of pure 80s fun. Rubik's Cube. The Rubik's Cube wasn't just a toy, it was the brain-busting badge of honor in the 80s. With its bright colors and tricky twists, it quickly turned into an international obsession. Some folks mastered it in seconds, while others spent forever trying to figure it out. But win or lose, it was all about being part of the craze. You'd see them on desks, stuffed in backpacks, or clutched in hands just to show you were in the loop. Having a Rubik's Cube meant you were part of something big. One colorful, cube-shaped challenge shared by millions. Did we bring back your favorite 80s moments? Drop a comment and share what you remember most. If you loved this blast from the past, check out more videos in the series. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share. Past Not Past with fellow 80s kids. Thanks for watching. See you next time for more nostalgia.